What's up, everybody? It is Broken Havoc right here on the Broken Havoc podcast, here to review Monday Night Raw from October 11th, 2021, coming to us from San Francisco, California. And yes, I haven't been uploading a video for the past 2 weeks. Of course, I stated on Twitter that I wasn't going to be uploading for the next two weeks because of the fact that I'm in the process of moving, and I still am in the process of moving, hence this new layout that I'm going to be having for the next couple of weeks and probably throughout the entire month of October before I get everything set up once I get to the new place. But yeah, I haven't been doing reviews, but hopefully I will be doing reviews from then on because there's a lot of stuff going on in professional wrestling right now. Of course, we have Rampage and SmackDown going head-to-head for the first 30 minutes of Rampage, which my quick thoughts on that is, look, I'm an advocate for the wrestling business being healthy. And competition is good for the wrestling business, but I feel like this move made by WWE, having SmackDown having an overrun on FS1 for the first 30 minutes of Rampage, is a way to kind of mess with them in a way. And there's been a lot of back and forth between Tony Khan and WWE throughout this past week. And you know what? A lot of people tend to take this stuff really seriously, like it's their job to do it. But honestly, I'm going to be honest, I love it because at the end of the day, competition is good for the wrestling business. Do I think that having WWE go, out of their way to add an extra 30 minutes of SmackDown during Rampage, do I think that's a good move? No, because number one, I do not like SmackDown. It's already a 2-hour show. I mean, I like SmackDown, but I do not like the show having an overrun of 30 minutes because a lot of people are saying, and you know what, this could possibly happen. This could just possibly be a gateway for them to add an extra hour of SmackDown. Now, we all know SmackDown airs on Fox almost every week. This week, it's going to be different because it's going to be airing on FS1, but we all know that the 10 o'clock news airs on Fox, so a lot of people are saying that WWE could probably add a third hour to SmackDown on FS1, which, if that is the case, I hope that is not the case, because, these people think more is good and more is not good, in my opinion. It's quality over quantity instead of quantity over quality. That's just my opinion. And, look, it's great that, we're having all this back and forth by them because it's at the end of the day, us fans win. But at the end of the day, I mean, Rampage does need a new time slot. I do not like the 10 o'clock time slot on SmackDown. Not on SmackDown, but on Fridays, because of the fact that, after watching a whole 2-hour show of SmackDown, let alone if it's probably bad, you're probably going to be like, oh, now I have to watch Rampage. Now, granted, Rampage has always been a good show. I just hate the time slot. The time slot is just really bad in my opinion. I do believe that they will eventually move time slots in the near future, but that's another story for another time. I will be uploading videos from then on, hopefully. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, but you know what? I'm back doing these videos, and I really enjoy doing these reviews, and I really want to do these reviews because I want to give you guys my thoughts on what's going on in pro wrestling. But we're going to be discussing Raw from October 11th, 2021. Overall thoughts on this show, I thought this was a not that good show, and Raw hasn't been good for the past couple of weeks. Now, granted, they were hot-shotting a lot of stuff, bringing in, having all these matches. They brought in Roman Reigns, of course. This week, they brought in the Usos, and this is going to be another discussion that I'm going to be talking about. Now, we all know that the WWE Draft happened last week, and my quick thoughts on the draft is that Raw got a lot of SmackDown's best talent, except for Roman Reigns. The main event scene is looking good after Crown Jewel, but this is my honest to God thoughts. WWE needs to end this fucking brand split. Why do I say this? It's because, there's a lot of stuff going on and a lot of interpromotional stuff going on in this show, and they're saying that the draft, begins to take place, the draft results begin to take place after 2 weeks. After Crown Jewel, yet you got a lot of people that are drafted to Raw on this show. And that's the problem I have. Let alone, you guys have the freaking Usos on this show who are still SmackDown guys. Now, that is the problem I have there. You need to follow your own rules. WWE does not follow their own rules at all. I honestly believe that wholeheartedly because of the fact that, they just want to get a ratings pull, and that's it, because they can't utilize the talent that they have. And this has been a scenario for years when it comes to the brand split. Oh, once Raw's ratings is down, we got to get a bunch of SmackDown guys to come in, or vice versa. That mindset has to stop, in my opinion. And if you're going to keep doing this, why are you going to have a roster split to begin with? Just don't do a brand split if you're going to be doing this. And yes, I know I have Edge on this layout, and yes, he's been drafted to Raw, but he's not going to be on the show for the next 2 weeks. But I've updated these layouts because, you know what? Rightfully so. I mean, I have Finn Balor on my audio layout as well. But, I'm probably going to have to change that because of the fact that, the brand split is going to be changing that. Now, that's another story for another time. But, when it comes to the brand split, WWE has killed the brand split concept for years now, to the point where it's not even that special anymore. Why do I say this? First off, the shows are not even different at all. The only difference is that they're different colors and they got different wrestlers. That is the only thing about the brand split that is the brand split. Let's be 100% honest here. There's no separate fan bases for Raw and SmackDown. You don't hear a bunch of people in the crowd chanting Raw, 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 or people in the fucking crowd chanting SmackDown, SmackDown, SmackDown. That is a true roster split right there. That is a true brand split. And that's what led NXT to set itself apart from Raw and SmackDown. If you really want to look at it from a perspective, the true brand split is WWE and NXT. Now, granted, that's not the case anymore with WWE doing NXT 2.0. And my thoughts on NXT 2.0 is I could give less of a shit about NXT 2.0 in my opinion, because honestly, it's just not intriguing to me. I saw the first show. I was not really that big of a fan of it. The wedding, I was a fan of. It was actually pretty entertaining to watch, but everything else, you knew who was in charge. Let's be honest. You knew who was in charge watching that show. But, the brand split is rendered useless in my opinion, and honestly, there's no real reason to have the roster split anymore. That's just my quick thoughts on that. But I'm going to run down the show. Of course, Drew McIntyre opens the show, and he's going to be a SmackDown guy, so that's something, right? Because WWE did state that the draft results will be in effect after Crown Jewel, and he's going to be drafted to SmackDown, and he's like the only guy. He's like the only top guy on Raw that SmackDown drafted. So Drew McIntyre starts off SmackDown, Raw, I should say, and welcomes everyone to Monday Night Raw. He proceeds to run down the card and says that he will once again be a WWE champion. He says he's waited for months for this match, and of course, Big E is going to be facing Drew McIntyre at Crown Jewel. Who do I think is going to be winning? Big E is going to be winning that match. I do not see Big E losing that title anytime soon. Then says that it's his last match before he goes to SmackDown, and then Big E comes out, says that he gets it, and at this point, Big E is speaking on the microphone. He says he understands why he wants to be champion. He says Drew is a specimen, says he will never take the title away from him, and says that the train already left the station. He can jump on board, or his sword ass can stay on those tracks and get run smooth over. So then Drew says that it does feel good to be champion. And he's a two-time WWE champion. Says he's held the title for over 300 days, or for 300 days. He's still chasing his moment, just like he defeated Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Goldberg, and he will beat him, and there's not a damn thing he can do about it. And again, here's where the bullshit happens. You have the Usos come out. Yes, the Usos, SmackDown Tag Team Champions, SmackDown wrestlers, come in. And again, you're messing up this whole idea of the brand split. Why are you having guys who are drafted to SmackDown, who have always been SmackDown guys and current SmackDown wrestlers, come to the Raw brand? Why are you doing this? It makes absolutely no sense. Why? Because tickets for Raw have been bad? I mean, just recently I heard that AEW Dynamite outsold WWE Raw at the UBS Arena, or at the UBS Center, whatever that new arena is called in Long Island. And you have Roman Reigns being announced for that show, who I thought Roman Reigns was a SmackDown guy, but he's going to be coming in on Raw. Why is that? It's because Raw is not that good of a show. And that is the problem. Once WWE's ratings go down, you need to bring in a guy from SmackDown. Or let alone, I wouldn't be surprised if WWE does a Raw Legends night. Remember how that turned out? Yeah. Again, WWE needs to stop relying on their current draws and their legends. They got to create new stars, and that is the problem that they have here. And my bad if I'm mumbling a lot. I haven't been making a video in a while. And I've noticed this. Not making a video for like the past 2 weeks kind of hurts you. in a way. It kind of hurts you because of the fact that, you know, you're kind of off your game. Now, granted, I've been on top of the shows. I've been watching the shows, but damn, you know, like I have been on, you know, I have been making videos for the past 2 weeks, and I'm already used to like not making videos. But you know what? I really want to make videos for you guys, and you know, I just want to do this. But the Usos come out and they're rolling. They say that they're rolling with the head of the table. You damn right. Says that the Bloodline has been drafted to SmackDown, but they in the city. Says Roman is beating Brock Lesnar at Crown Jewel, and says that they're trying to find out who will be WWE champion. And says if they beat Big E, then if Big E beats Mclntyre, then he faces Reigns at Survivor Series. Then when he faces Reigns, he got a death wish. Then he proposes a match with the Usos and Mclntyre and Big E, and then the Usos then attack both Big E and Mclntyre. Then Big E and Mclntyre proceed to argue, and that's that. All right. Again, now I heard that the reason why they brought in the Usos was because of the fact that it was in their hometown, which I understand that argument, but still. The Usos are SmackDown guys. Why are you having them on Raw 1 week after the draft? That makes no sense. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. I don't understand why these people do this type of stuff. If you want to keep the logic, not only that, you're not only like doing the stupid stuff, not only that, you know, you're confusing the viewer. You know, someone who watches WWE for years, like I've been watching WWE since late 2010. Like they tend to do this type of stuff. You know, they tend to break their own rules. And not only that, they confuse me a lot because once you start pulling maneuvers like this by bringing SmackDown guys to the Raw show, then you're basically confusing me on what brand what brand is associated with that specific wrestler. You know what I mean? Like that starts to confuse the viewer. And like I can give you an example, the freaking wild card rule. You know, Roman Reigns was drafted to SmackDown 2 years ago, right? And then they did this whole wild card rule, and the first person that came out, I believe, was like Roman Reigns. And I'm like, okay, that is ridiculous. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that all the time, because then you're just hot-shotting stuff. You're just hot-shotting wrestlers for ratings. But, yeah, that's that. We get Ricochet versus Xavier Woods in the first round match of the King of the Ring tournament. Of course, the King of the Ring tournament and the Queen's Crown tournament has been going on ever since the previous week's SmackDown. Quick rundown of the King of the Ring. So we had Rey Mysterio versus Sami Zayn on SmackDown, and Finn Balor versus Cesaro. Finn Balor and Cesaro was a really good match that happened last week on SmackDown. Sami Zayn beat Rey Mysterio, and Finn Balor beat Cesaro. Overall thoughts on the semifinals when it comes to the King of the Ring. Who do I think is going to be winning? A lot of people are saying Sami Zayn could possibly win, but honestly, I do not mind seeing Finn Balor winning the King of the Ring tournament. Now, granted, is that going to do anything for Finn Balor? I do not think so, because quite frankly, the King of the Ring tournament is not really as prestigious as WWE will tell you in those freaking ads once you turn on an AEW ad, an AEW video, or Impact Wrestling video, because clearly WWE has been hot-shotting those WWE Raw ads if you click on an AEW video or a Impact YouTube video. Like, trust me, click on an Impact video and you'll see a WWE ad. They've been clearly hot-shotting this whole King of the Ring and Queen's Crown tournament, and they're saying that it's prestigious, but I'm going to give you a clarification right here. The King of the Ring tournament is not important. It's not. Why do I say this? It's because WWE has taught me to say that this King of the Ring tournament is not important. Why do I say this? Well, let me guess that this tournament hasn't been around since 2019. And before 2019, the last time they had this tournament was 2015. And then before 2015, they had this tournament in 2010. And in the recent years, when it comes to the King of the Ring, like, has there been any, stipulation involved? Like, whoever wins this tournament faces the champion at like a SummerSlam or a Survivor Series? No. All you win in this freaking tournament is a crown and a cape. That's all you win. And a name change. For example, like I'm Broken Havoc, right? And if I win the King of the Ring tournament, I get renamed King Havoc. That's what the winner gets. They don't get anything else. That is the problem with the King of the Ring tournament. The Queen's Crown tournament is much worse. Not only because of the fact that, it's a tournament that has just been added in last minute, But because of the fact that the matches were extremely short, and I'll explain that later, but it's not looking good for the Queen's Crown, in my opinion. But the King of the Ring, I mean, it's a way to showcase a lot of talent, and I understand that. But have this be an annual thing. The King of the Ring tournament is not an annual thing. Like, usually this should be its own pay-per-view, if anything. The King of the Ring tournament should be its own pay-per-view. You know, if Sami Zayn wins this tournament, he's going to be named King Zayn. Like, that is the stupidest shit ever. Can't he get a title shot or something? Like, that's the problem with the King of the Ring tournament nowadays. Number one is because of the fact that it's not an annual tournament. And number two, all you win is a freaking crown and a cape. That is the stupidest thing ever, in my opinion. And that's why I'm not really as invested in the King of the Ring tournament or Queen's Crown tournament to begin with. It's because of the fact that WWE has taught me to not care about these types of things because of the fact that they don't put any effort in what they do. That is the problem. But we got Xavier Woods versus Ricochet, who, by the way, was running for the 24/7 championship a couple weeks prior. So we got a first-round match for the King of the Ring tournament. Overall thoughts on this match, I thought this was a really good match, in my opinion. This was not a bad match at all. Both lock up. We get a shoulder tackle. We get a cover and an immediate kick out. We get a drop kick by Ricochet, and then we get a cover and another immediate kick out. We get a kick by Ricochet. Woods proceeds to fight back. We get a couple of chops by Ricochet. Woods drives Ricochet to the apron. We get a couple of chops by Ricochet on the top rope. Woods proceeds to fight back. Ricochet then comes back and then hits a beautiful superplex. Once we're back from break, we get a kick to the back of Woods. Then we get a missile drop kick by Ricochet. We get a cover and a near fall. Woods then takes Ricochet to the top rope. We get a stomp to the back of Ricochet. We get a flying leg drop by Woods. Then we get a cover and a near fall. Then Woods drops Ricochet on his knees. We get a cover and a near fall. Then we get a high kick by Ricochet. Ricochet then picks up Woods. We get a cartwheel senton by Ricochet. Then he hits a kick on Woods. Ricochet then jumps over the post on Woods to the outside, which looked amazing, by the way. That was an awesome-ass spot. Then takes out Woods to the barricade. Then Ricochet misses a suicide dive. Woods goes back to the top. We get an elbow drop by Woods. We get a cover, and Xavier Woods advances to the semifinals of the King of the Ring tournament. Overall thoughts on this match? I thought this was a really good match. The next match that we have for the King of the Ring tournament is going to be Kofi Kingston versus Jinder Mahal, which ended with Jinder Mahal winning, which I was really disappointed at because of the fact that WWE totally missed the opportunity of having Xavier Woods versus Kofi Kingston, two current New Day members. How stupid can you get? I don't know, but I'll talk about that later on. But we get Riddle and Randy Orton backstage and basically saying that Riddle was saying somebody challenged Omos to a match. And he says that he was the one that challenged Omos to the match. And Orton, or Riddle, I should say, he's asking what's the plan. And Orton says there's no plan at all, blah, blah, blah. We get Mansoor and Ali versus Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, of course, reforming the Hurt Business a couple weeks prior, which I think was awesome in my opinion, considering the fact that WWE should have never broken up the Hurt Business to begin with. This was a really short match, I should say. Shelton takes down Ali, then Cedric tags in, Mansoor tags in. We get an atomic drop on Alexander. Ali tags in. We get a double team attempt by both Ali and Mansoor. Then we get a suicide dive, or a Tompe Suicida, as Excalibur would state, on Benjamin by Mansoor. Ali goes to the top. He misses a 450 splash. Alexander then hits the Michinoku driver on Ali and wins the match. After the match, Ali pushes Mansoor and then leaves. So there's a lot of turmoil going on when it comes to Mansoor and Ali. So where does this lead to? It led to basically Ali turning on Mansoor in a later backstage segment on this show. We get Shayna Baszler versus Dana Brooke in the first round match of the Queen's Crown tournament. I'm going to be talking about this currently now. What are my thoughts on the Queen's Crown tournament? Again, just like the King of the Ring tournament, what is prestigious about this tournament? Absolutely nothing. Same as the King of the Ring. You know, I constantly, and I keep repeating this, every time I click on an Impact Wrestling video on YouTube or an AEW video on YouTube, I constantly see an ad of Raw promoting the Queen's Crown and King of the Ring tournament. And the guy that's speaking is saying that, oh, it's WWE's most prestigious tournament. If it's so prestigious, why is it not annual? That is the problem. Again, WWE is hot-shotting the stupid tournament, which shouldn't. I don't know why I called it stupid. You know what? It's not stupid because this was something that they had for years, and it was annual back in the day, but it's currently not because apparently Vince McMahon does not like tournaments. Again, then why are you doing it? You just want a ratings pull, and you know what? It's not a bad idea considering the fact that it's something fresh. And it doesn't cause a lot of rematches, but at the same time, there's no stipulations added. There's no prize. The only prize you get is a freaking crown and a cape and a name change. Nothing else. And then they don't even elevate you. The King of the Ring in 2021 is at the same level as the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Okay, that is my thoughts on that. Okay, those are my quick thoughts. And the Queen's Crown tournament is worse because all the matches that we got on this tournament, bruh, were extremely short. Like legit. Like all these matches that we got in the Queen's Crown tournament was extremely short. And that is the problem. Why are they extremely short? A tournament is supposed to showcase all of the talent that you have, and instead we got 2-minute or 1-minute matches. That is a problem. That is a problem, and that is not how you showcase your women's division. And you got a bunch of talented female wrestlers out there, and you're not showcasing them the proper way, in my opinion. I mean, we had Toni Storm versus Zelena Vega on SmackDown. You had Zelena Vega beat Toni Storm. Already, she's been ruined. She's been demoted to the main roster. So, I mean, that is a bad decision. And you had Liv Morgan versus Carmella. And Carmella beat Liv Morgan. What a terrible booking decision. This should have elevated Liv Morgan, but instead you went the Carmella route, which nothing against Carmella, but I mean, this could have been extremely good if you had Liv Morgan advance to the semifinals and then go to the finals of the tournament. But they didn't do that because WWE is so stupid. But we had our first round match on the Raw side with Dana Brooke versus Shayna Baszler. Shayna goes after Dana. Honestly, this match was extremely predictable. Why should I, as a viewer of this product, should run down this particular match if I know it's already predictable? Shayna Baszler beat Dana Brooke. Do you honestly think Dana Brooke is going to be advancing to in this tournament? No, she's been on the roster since 2016. What has she done? She's done absolutely nothing but jobber status. Nothing against Dana Brooke. I'm just saying that the way they booked her, they made me not give a shit about her. That's what I think. Shayna Baszler went over in this match, and she advanced to the semifinals in this match by just beating Dana Brooke. We get an inside cradle by Dana. We get a near fall. We get an ankle lock by Dana Brooke. Dana escapes. We get a roll up. Shayna escapes into a kick and a cover and wins the match. She beat her clean. What can I say? All right. We get Charlotte backstage and cuts a promo on Shayna Baszler and everybody in the women's division. I don't care. We get Riddle versus Omos. Okay. Riddle versus Omos. Okay. One thing I should say is how many times have we been seeing RK Bro and AJ Styles and Omos feud throughout the past few months? I keep my Raw notes. I keep my notes every week for Raw, and I can literally count how many times we've seen this. And you know what? I'm gonna actually do that. And I've stated this previously on my Raw reviews, but I haven't gone down to it, which is my fault. But, I mean, I'm being honest, how many times we've seen this match, I guarantee you, I could have sworn we've seen this match before. I could have sworn we've seen this match before. But Riddle cuts a promo, and then the match starts. Riddle goes after Styles on the outside. Then Omos takes Riddle and throws him. Then we get a splash by Omos in the corner. Then he proceeds to chokeslam Riddle. Then we get a cover, and Styles tells him that they are not done with him. Styles wants to see a roundhouse kick. Then Omos hits a not that really good roundhouse kick. If you guys seen roundhouse kicks in other wrestling matches, you know how I know a good roundhouse kick when I see one, okay? So then Omos after that hits the roundhouse kick. They show a replay and then shows it in slow motion. Then Omos plants Riddle to the ring. We get a cover and Omos wins the match. Then Styles says he's not done, and then he says that he's about to hit the phenomenal forearm. Why not hit the spiral tap, Styles? Hit the frickin' spiral tap. Then Randy Orton's music plays, but Styles tells Omos to go from behind because you never know. RKO out of nowhere, right? But Orton out of nowhere hits the RKO on AJ Styles while Omos is on the outside. Overall thoughts on this match. Honestly, I guarantee we have probably seen this match multiple times that I stopped caring. I honestly stopped caring. Like, what is the point? Honestly, what is the point? There is no point at all. Move on. Let's move on from this stupid feud, because we've seen them feud for like the past 3 freaking months. Okay? Like, I'm done with this feud already. Like, I want to move on. All right. We get Drew McIntyre backstage with Biggie. Both proceed to argue, but then they get on good terms later on for their match against the Usos in the main event. Bobby Lashley then comes out. He proceeds to cut a promo on Goldberg, which Goldberg and Bobby Lashley will be wrestling at Crown Jewel next Thursday. Who do I think is going to be going over in this match? I do not think Goldberg is going to be going over. I think Bobby Lashley is going to be going over, but who knows? They can have Goldberg go over. I don't honestly, I do not care, considering the fact that this whole storyline with Goldberg has not really piqued my interest, considering the fact that Goldberg, he's been on Raw last week and I believe the week prior, but like, honestly, like, this whole build for this match really was kind of lackluster in my opinion. I mean, it's something different, but like, I think Crown Jewel is going to be a good show, and this is coming from somebody that barely watched the Saudi Arabia shows, considering the fact that the Saudi Arabia shows are basically just, those Saudi Arabia shows are just glorified house shows. I'm going to be honest, like, the Saudi Arabia shows are glorified house shows, nothing else. But this show is a little different. But honestly, it's not going to be a bad show in my opinion, because we got Seth Rollins versus Edge inside Hell in a Cell, which I'm excited to see, by the way. I think it's going to be a really good match, because both Seth Rollins and Edge always tear the house down. But honestly, like, Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg is one of those matches that I really don't give a crap about, honestly. But he cuts a promo and says that there are a lot of people ask him why the match is no holds barred. And by the way, the match is no holds barred. He talks about him wanting to end his life, and says Goldberg says he's next and he's dead. And says that behavior is not befitting of a WWE superstar, a Hall of Famer, and a father. Says he challenged him to a no holds barred matchup. And says the icon of Goldberg has been reduced to a rabid dog. Says that the dog needs to be put down, and says at Crown Jewel he will finally end Goldberg's career. No longer will Goldberg be running on Raw and leaving the sunset, which he always does. And says there will be no misunderstanding, and says that he can't hurt the Almighty, and he damn sure can't kill the Almighty. So that's that. Bobby Lashley did cut a pretty good promo, I will admit that, but honestly, it did not pique my interest for this match. It's going to be one of those matches that I honestly do not care about. And again, this match is only going to be lasting like probably less than 10 minutes, honestly. This match is not going to be going long at all. Everybody knows if you're going to be watching a Goldberg match, the match is not going to take that long. Just saying. We get a backstage promo on Charlotte, and then we get Austin Theory versus Jeff Hardy. Again, so Austin Theory is one of those wrestlers that have been drafted or called up from NXT to Raw. And Austin Theory basically wanted to take a selfie with Jeff Hardy the previous week, and instead, Austin Theory attacked Jeff Hardy. Great. So we get a kick by Hardy. He takes Austin to the corner. We get an elbow by Hardy, and then we get a waistlock switch by both competitors. We get a roll through and a drop kick by Theory. We get a cover and a near fall. Reggie then runs to the ring with all the other wrestlers who are coming in, chasing Reggie for the 24/7 championship. Again, if this was a really good, could you imagine? Like, this could be such a WWE thing to do. Like, could you imagine if you had Finn Balor versus Cesaro? And I know this match happened on SmackDown the previous week, but could you imagine if you had Cesaro versus Finn Balor, and the match was getting intense and really awesome, and then you see Reggie getting chased by a bunch of wrestlers running around the ring during that awesome-ass match? Could you imagine if that happened? Like, I would have been pissed. Like, really? That's the best you got? Like, Austin Theory versus Jeff Hardy I never give a crap about. But honestly, like, could you imagine if they did that for, like, a high-quality match? I mean, WWE would definitely be the type of company to do that type of shit, honestly, because they don't care about you. They do not care about the audience watching their show. They only care about the green that goes in their pocket. But Austin Theory wins up the match via a roll-up. We get a backstage promo with Bianca Belair, and then we get Kofi Kingston versus Jinder Mahal in a first-round match for the King of the Ring tournament. Honestly, overall thoughts on this match, this was a pretty short match. Veer and Shanky did get split up, so we're not going to be seeing Veer and Shanky together because of the results of the draft, because they did get split up. Jinder Mahal eventually won this match, which I thought was really stupid, but I'll explain that later after I run down this entire match. We get a takedown by Jinder, we get a side headlock by Jinder, and then we get a shoulder tackle by Mahal. Then we get a shoulder tackle again by Mahal. Kingston then hits a drop kick, works on Jinder in the corner. We get a kick by Kingston. Then we get a Hurricane Rana by Kingston. We get a running kick by Kingston. Kofi then drops on Jinder on the outside. Once we're back from break, Kofi hits the SOS. We get a drop kick by Kofi. Then we get a crossbody by Kofi. Then we get a cover and a near fall. Then we get a kick by Kofi. Kofi drops Mahal. Woods takes out Shanky, but Veer clotheslines Woods. Then Jinder rolls up. We get a near fall. We get a kick by Kofi. Jinder catches Kofi and hits the Colossus and wins the match. So Jinder Mahal advances to the semifinals, going up against Xavier Woods next week. Overall thoughts on this is I thought this was a really stupid decision because WWE did not capitalize on the match between Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, which everybody wanted to see, but these idiots did not book that because they're completely brain dead. Yeah, I thought that was a really stupid booking decision. I mean, I don't know, nobody, and I mean this wholeheartedly, nothing against Jinder Mahal, but honestly, you, the viewer, watching this video, do you care about Jinder Mahal? I know I don't. I honestly do not care about Jinder Mahal. He keeps stating on television that he's a former WWE champion, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, do you honestly care about the way he's booked? I honestly do not care. I just don't care at all about Jinder Mahal. Like, I do not care about him. Nothing against him, like, in real life. I'm just saying, the way that WWE has booked him and the way that, WWE has taught me is, oh, yeah, don't give a shit about this person because, honestly, I don't give a crap about Jinder Mahal. Honestly, I do not care about Jinder Mahal. And the fact that, you have Xavier Woods versus Jinder Mahal next week instead of Kofi Kingston versus Xavier Woods, they couldn't even capitalize on that. So, like, why should I put my faith in them? I shouldn't. That's the bottom line right there. But, I mean, again, this King of the Ring tournament doesn't mean jack crap because there's no, like, the winner is not really going to win anything. All they're going to win is a freaking crown, a cape, and a name change. That is it. Nothing else. No title shot, no nothing. So, again, why should I care about this tournament when I know I'm going to be getting this? If they really wanted to care about this whole King of the Ring tournament, they would have had the winner, face the main champion at Survivor Series. You know what I mean? But they don't do that because they don't think properly. We get a backstage segment with Becky Lynch, who is the current SmackDown Women's Champion, who I believe did get drafted to Raw. So I honestly assume that she's going to be dropping the belt at Crown Jewel. But yeah, we get Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks versus Charlotte and Becky Lynch, which I don't even know if I'm going to call this a match, considering the fact that, it's just that, this match, I mean, this match happened, but, like, honestly, there was just a lot of turmoil going on within the teams. I mean, you had Charlotte and Becky Lynch going at each other, Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks going at each other. So the match starts. I don't think the match even started. Sasha and Bianca argue. Sasha pulls the ponytail of Bianca. Bianca takes Sasha to the corner. Then Bianca and Becky Lynch fight it out. Then Sasha grabs Bianca. A brawl proceeds to break loose. Becky hits an exploder suplex. We get a boot by Charlotte on Becky. Then Charlotte goes to the top. Sasha comes in and attacks Charlotte. Becky then attacks Charlotte. Bianca then picks up Sasha and throws her to Charlotte and Becky. Then Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville come in and says the match will continue. Then the brawl continues to break loose. We go to commercial break, and once we're back from break, the match officially starts. Sasha and Charlotte start. We get a waistlock by Charlotte and then another waistlock by Sasha. Then we get a back elbow by Charlotte. Sasha then counters a figure four into a roll-up pin attempt. Then we get a Hurricane Rana by Sasha Banks. We get a roll-up by Banks. We get a 1 count. Then we get a kick by Banks, and then Charlotte hits a backbreaker. proceeds to take Sasha Banks to the corner. Becky tags herself in, misses a leg drop. Bianca tags in, works on Becky. Then Sasha slaps Becky to the shoulder as a tag, which is not looking good, by the way. Becky gets control after that. We get a suplex by Bianca, so things are not looking good for Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. We get a second suplex by Bianca. We get a cover into a near fall. Sasha then tags in but takes out Bianca to the outside, applies the bank statement on Becky Lynch. Then Becky counters into the disarmer. Then we get a backstabber by Banks on Charlotte while Charlotte and Becky were arguing. Then we get a takedown by Bianca on Banks. The referee then calls for the bell. We get an exploder suplex by Becky, tries to apply the disarmer. Bianca then picks up Becky. Banks catches Bianca into the backstabber. Becky and Sasha then hit a counter after counter, and then Becky hits the manhandle slam on Sasha Banks. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this match, but honestly, we all know who's going to be winning this match. I shouldn't even state it because of the fact that, because of the draft results, I mean, you have the SmackDown Women's Champion being drafted to Raw, so like, do you honestly believe that Becky Lynch is going to be retaining that title? No, she's going to drop that title, and it's not going to be to Bianca Belair because Bianca Belair is also drafted to Raw, so she's not going to win the SmackDown Women's Championship and head over to Raw. It's going to be Sasha Banks. All right, so we got the Usos backstage celebrating. Okay, great. We get Natalya versus Dewdrop in the first round match of the Queen's Crown tournament. Again, this match was really short. Why, I do not know. But Dewdrop won the match. We get a slap by Natalya. Natalya works on Dewdrop in the corner. We get a couple of slaps by Natalya. Dewdrop misses a senton. And then we get a stomp and a drop kick by Natalya. We get a cover and a near fall. We get an abdominal stretch by Natalya. Then we get a takedown by Dewdrop, and then takes Natalya to the corner. Then misses a cannonball. We get a discus lariat by Natalya. We get a cover and a near fall. Then Natalya tries to apply the sharpshooter. We get a slap by Dewdrop. We get a roll up by Dewdrop and wins the match. So Dewdrop advances to the semifinals of the Queen's Crown tournament. Again, honestly, this is a tournament. This tournament and the King of the Ring tournament, I do not give a crap about, considering the fact that it's not important at all. Period. We get John Morrison meditating backstage, and Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash see him, and then they proceed to stare at him. Honestly, I do not care. Mansoor is backstage. He says that he does not know what's going on with Mustafa Ali. Then Ali comes in and says that he's a giant waste of time, and says he always wants to be a fanboy. And Ali says without him, he's going to get eaten alive. So he calls him a loser, worthless, and then basically he's nothing. And then Ali then attacks him from behind. So I assume this is the end of Mustafa Ali and Mansoor's tag team title reign. Honestly, I could care less. I mean, they did have really good tag team chemistry together. They really had really good teamwork when they were both in the ring. But, honestly, I could care less. Because they've been booking Mansoor to basically act like a dumbass. Like, they always do these types of storylines. And it's so weird. It is so weird because I came up with this scenario. And, WWE uses legends and AEW uses legends. And both companies utilize their veterans in a different manner. And I came up with this predicament. It is like you can clearly see the difference when you have a newer wrestler put over a legend on, like, you can clearly see the difference on both AEW and WWE. Like on AEW television, when a newer wrestler puts over a legend, like, I feel like it's genuine and it's really good. But when you watch a WWE program and you hear a newer guy put over a veteran, it comes off as so bad, so forced, and so scripted, and it's terrible. I don't know about that. I don't know what you guys think, but that's how I feel. And the way that they have been booking Mansoor, like, they've been basically booking him like he was extremely stupid. Like, seriously, they have. And it's a damn shame because Mansoor is really talented. That's just my opinion. But we get the Usos versus Drew McIntyre and Big E in the main event. Overall thoughts on this match? I thought this was a pretty good match. Again, I do not know why. A lot of people are saying the Usos were on this show because it's their hometown, but at the same time, storyline-wise, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, and I'm focusing on the storyline aspect of it because of the fact that the Usos are SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and they are SmackDown wrestlers. So why are they on Raw? Again, makes no sense. So we get Big E and Jimmy starting the match. We get a couple of elbows by Big E. McIntyre tags in. We get repeated stomps on Jimmy Uso. Then Big E with repeated stomps. We get a double team attempt by McIntyre and Big E. We get a cover and day 1 count. McIntyre at this point is the legal man. Jay tags in, goes after McIntyre. We get a suplex by McIntyre. Big E then tags in. Big E then applies the abdominal stretch. Then Jimmy tags in with a high kick. We get repeated stomps on Big E. Then Jey Uso tags in, works on McIntyre. Then Jimmy tags in. We get a headbutt by Jimmy Uso. Jay tags in and stomps on Big E. The Usos at this point are taking control of the match. We get a side headlock by Jimmy. Big E then proceeds to fight back. Big E then hits a belly-to-belly suplex. Jay then gets taken to the outside. Big E then misses a splash on the apron. Big E gets sent to the ring steps. Once we go to commercial break and we're back from break, we get an enziguri by Jimmy Uso. Jay tags in. We get a double team attempt by the Usos. We get a cover and a near fall. We get a hip attack in the corner by Big E. On Big E, I should say. My apologies. Then Jay misses a second hip attack. Then we get a belly-to-belly suplex by Big E. Then the hot tag is made by both teams. We get a bunch of clotheslines by Drew McIntyre. Then McIntyre hits a belly-to-belly suplex. We get a roll-up by Jimmy. McIntyre then hits the spine buster. We get a cover and a near fall. Then Jimmy counters the Future Shock DDT. Then we get a super kick by the Usos on McIntyre. We get a cover and a near fall. We get repeated rights by Jay. Jay then picks up McIntyre. We get a neck breaker by McIntyre on Jey Uso and then hits a neck breaker on Jimmy. Then all of a sudden, here's where the turmoil starts happening when it comes to Big E and Drew McIntyre. Big E then tags himself in. We get a super kick by Jay, and then a second super kick by Jay. We get a cover and a near fall. Jay goes to the top. Then they miss the Uso splash, or he misses the Uso splash. Big E then tries to hit the big ending, but runs into McIntyre. Big E then hits the Uranagi. We get a cover and a near fall when McIntyre pulls Big E out. Then both McIntyre and Big E brawl on the outside. The referee then rings the bell out of nowhere because of all this bullshit happening between McIntyre and Big E. Then the Usos then both take out McIntyre and Big E and then send Big E over the announce table. Then send McIntyre to the barricade. We get a belly-to-belly suplex by Big E on Jey Uso. Then a belly-to-belly suplex on Jimmy. Both Big E and McIntyre both get in the ring. Both fight it out. Big E then gets hit with the Claymore, and the show ends with McIntyre standing tall. Overall thoughts on this match is that it was not a bad match. I will admit that. It was a really good match, and recently, even the past couple of weeks, Raw has had pretty good matches. I will say that, especially in the main event. But storyline-wise, it makes absolutely no sense, and that's where the problems of Raw happen. This show was not good. This show was not good at all, and honestly, I'm going to be 100% honest. Having these types of storylines and having all these illogical things that are happening on the show make me completely uninterested to watch this show, in my opinion. And I'm going to compare this show to Dynamite because of the fact that, you watch a Raw show and you watch a Dynamite show and you can clearly, and I mean this brutally, you can clearly see the difference when you watch both shows. Things make sense when you watch Dynamite, and things make sense when you watch Raw. Now, granted, Dynamite does have a little bit of flaws, and they sometimes do some stupid stuff. But overall, the show is really good. Raw, on the other hand, makes absolutely no sense, and everything, from the way the show is shot, to the backstage segments, everything. You can clearly see the difference between both of the shows. And I'm going to be honest, Dynamite is the better show, and I get more enjoyment watching Dynamite than this show. This show was not good at all. I mean, there was like we had a missed opportunity in a Kofi Kingston versus Xavier Woods match that could have been awesome. Not only that, it could have been a match of the year candidate in my opinion. Not only that, we just had the Queen's Crown tournament makes absolutely no sense because of the fact that the matches are going extremely short. And again, a tournament is supposed to showcase all of the talent that you have, and you're not giving all the women a proper time to showcase that. And that's the problem. That is the exact problem. And, the Raw, like, it's just not a good show overall. It's not a good show. You see the same shit every single week, and it's boring. It's honestly boring, and, like, I just want it to end. But, yeah, that was Monday Night Raw from October 11th, 2021. Overall thoughts on this show is that this show was not that good. I hope this show can get better, but honestly, by the looks of it, it's not going to get better anytime soon. If I were to compare the show to SmackDown, and SmackDown does have its problems, but at least, it's not as bad as Raw. And, I'm going to have to say that. But at the end of the day, it's still a good time to be a wrestling fan. Now, granted, WWE's product is not that great, but, we have Biggie as the current WWE champion. And I'm happy about that because Biggie does deserve it, in my opinion. We got a lot of stuff going on in the world of pro wrestling. And AEW right now, their momentum is really good right now. And honestly, like, AEW right now is like the place to be when it comes to pro wrestling. WWE isn't because of the fact that, we get really crappy shows. And it's a shame because WWE has some really good talent there and they don't utilize them properly. But hey, that's Raw for you. Raw never utilizes their talent correctly, but it is what it is. But yeah, that was my Raw review from October 11th, 2021. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications, and subscribe to the channel for more content. And this is Broken Havoc from the Broken Havoc Podcast, signing out.